I'd like to know how many of you are familiar with SingularityNet and Deep Funding before this presentation. If you could give me just a thumbs up if you heard about SingularityNet or Deep Funding before today. Kyle, Alex, well, like everybody. Okay, cool. So why use Andamio and Deep Funding? So Felix is not here today, but he is a member of Swarm. He's a veteran of Catalyst, and he's very well connected. And he introduced us actually to the Singularity ecosystem. Through Singularity and Deep Funding, we applied in Deep Funding Route 3 for a grant. And the grant's purpose is, like Rafa said, to onboard people into the Deep Funding ecosystem. A lot of you know overall what Andamio is and kind of what it does. And so what I kind of want to explain is what is the fit here and why are we doing this? And the first thing I'd like to begin, and I see that Yoram is here. This is something that he talks a lot about, and it's how many of you know or can show what you've done for Catalyst? As a reviewer or as a proposer, can you go anywhere and say, well, this is my trajectory within this community. This is what I have contributed and what I get back from that community. And the answer is really, it's hard, right? I'm not a veteran. I haven't been that way, but it seems like there's not a lot that you can see that can give you that information. And at the end of the day, we talk a lot in Cardano about community and how to build community, and what makes Cardano special is the community. But there are not really that many tools that allow us to interact as a community. And what I mean by that is that in a community, you give and you don't necessarily expect monetary rewards back, but you give because you get something out of the community as well. You get any type of services, you get knowledge, you get guidance, you get all these types of services that are not at any point converted into financial rewards. You're never thinking about that. You just do it because you are part of the community and you recognize value in being part of that community. So what Andamio does, and most of you already know this, is onboard people to communities, to projects, so they can learn, acquire skills that will later allow them to make impactful contributions to solve meaningful problems. And how we do this in Deep Funding Academy is basically by providing resources so that you can be a valuable member of the process of deep funding. And what that means is that you'll acquire skills to be a skillful reviewer, a skillful proposer, and a skillful voter. At the same time, you'll participate in a community of peers that have the same interests, whether that's being a reviewer, proposer, or voter. And you'll be able to share with them what you know and questions and answers to different problems. So how does that look? How many of you know what SLTs are? Again, if you could. Oh, James knows. No way. Jonathan knows as well. Okay, perfect. So student learning targets, I'm going to tell you anyway because I have it written down. So student learning targets are specific measurable learning goals, and they are designed to focus on critical skills or knowledge that students should develop. They are an integral part of any instructional program and are really useful to get feedback from the learning process. So in the Deep Funding Academy, if you go, and I'm going to put the link on the chat. See, 1 second. If you go to start course, the first thing you're going to see is the module outline. And each module, you can navigate here or you can navigate here. If you go to the overview, which is the first little link here, you're going to find an overview of the module, and you're going to find what are the SLTs that module covers. So as you can see in the first few modules, it's very much about onboarding you to what is SingularityNet, what is Deep Funding, and what is Deep Funding Academy. And what we do is really, really briefly give you an overview of what are the values, what is Deep SingularityNet and Deep Funding about, and how you can connect with the Deep Funding Academy community. Why? Because the first thing that you're going to have is probably questions, and you're going to want to troubleshoot stuff or just engage with the rest of the community. So we sort of give you a little tour of what that means, and at the end, your task is to engage with the Deep Funding Academy community. What that means is that you'll join the Deep Funding Academy server. and you'll interact with other members. And the task is going to be to provide that evidence of that interaction. So you get a guide. If you don't know how to install an Andamio wallet, there's a little tutorial here that shows you how to install an Andamio wallet and to configure it to use the pre-prod network. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this video sometimes. I don't know if you've ever engaged with Gimbal Labs. You probably have seen James explain how to configure and set up a Andamio wallet. So if you're not much of a reader, you can just click on the video. And as with the Plutus PBL, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, you end the first module by minting your learner token. So you just click on the link, and this is for you. You guys are pros at this. You don't need to even tell you, but you mint your learner token, you do your alias. I'm gonna do, this is my fourth account, so I'm gonna do learner 4. And I never get tired of doing this because I always find it so cool that this is kind of like magic to me still. And you mint your learner token. And as many of you know, what that means is that as you progress through the course with your learner token, once you end it, and you'll see, for example, in the first module, there's not a lot to do because you're being onboarded. Is there a question in the chat? Let me just, that's an NFT. As you go through the first module, you're basically we're telling you how to navigate through the Deep Funding Academy and Singularity ecosystem and how to engage with the Deep Funding Academy community. But in the second one, you will start having some tasks, right? So in the first couple of modules, if you go to the first lesson, which is I know where to learn about deep funding, your task is to join the Deep Funding Academy Discord and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Deep Funding and Singularity's vision and mission. Just your thoughts. Just what do you understand by it? What do you think it is? And if you agree, if you align, if it's something that interests you, that's one task. And then if you go to the lesson 102.2, you'll find another task. And it's joining the Twitter community. We're kind of promoting ourselves here, but that's part of the task. And at the end is a proposal drafting exercise. And you'll see as you progress through the course, through the modules, that it gets more and more involved. It is kind of challenging. And because it's a project-based methodology, as you've seen with the Plutus PBL, there's not a lot of hand-holding. It invites you and I'm going to say invite, that's a positive word, invites you to engage and explore with the content. So you have to go to the Deep Funding AI website. You have to read a lot, the rules. You have to see and find out what are the guidelines. You need to find out what are the categories that you can apply. And this is meant to just give you a really bird's eye view of what this all means, what this community is about, and what that deep funding process is about specifically. Because the aim of this, at the end of the day, is to be a part of the deep funding, not just the Singularity, but specifically the deep funding community, and provide value to that community. Because eventually, hopefully, by going through this course, you will get something back from that community, be that rewarded a grant from a successful proposal that you'd learn how to do in Deep Funding Academy, or just being a reviewer or getting a review of your proposal. I was talking to the team, Deep Funding Academy team. This is something my wife has been a researcher for a long time, and when she was doing her PhD, I kind of learned about the peer review process. And publishing a paper is super expensive. It's like $3,000, if at least. And when you review a paper, it doesn't matter who you are. You can be a 40 professor with 40 years of experience. You don't get paid a dime, not one single dime. And I always told my wife, man, you guys are getting ripped off. What is this about? How is it possible that you guys are not getting paid? Who's getting paid? And well, the publisher is getting paid, and that's a whole other issue. But I really found it really hard to understand what is the motivation then of any scientist to peer review a paper. It takes work, and they do a really good job of it, of really going carefully over papers. And it's really about this sense of community. They are scientists all over the world that once an editor tells them, listen, you are an expert on this subject, we need you to review this paper, they will take it on for free in their own time. They're not getting paid for this. And to me, that is a sense of community. It would be much better if they would get some rewards. But really, when you think about the job and the task, the time that goes into reviewing Catalyst proposals, the expertise and the experience that is behind the people that do those proposals, that's impossible to pay. Catalyst would go broke in one round because that time is really very, very valuable. So we cannot really do it for the money. That can't be the the motivation behind doing that. But it can be community. It can be, and it is to some point what sustains and gets us to good community reviews. The review process of Catalyst is mainly because we care about Catalyst. We care about Cardano. We want good proposals to be funded. Yeah, we might not like everything about Catalyst, but at the end of the day, we still put the time. We still do the effort. A lot of them put the effort. There's just like how many proposals were reviewed just last round. And people have quantified how many hours go into that, and it's ridiculous. So the idea with Andamio and creating the Deep Funding Academy on top of Andamio is to provide that sort of value of community, to create this network of people that are participating in one activity in an ecosystem. I don't want to say community again, because they care. They are there to build not just relationships with the project itself, but relationships with others, relationships with projects, et cetera, et cetera. How you do this? Well, it's based on SLTs and it's based on project-based learning. And it's also the other side, which is eventually those SLTs that go into your credentials is an evidence of the work and the time that you've put into the community. And it will give you some credentials. By participating in the Deep Funding Academy, going through the process and demonstrating that you know how to do things. I don't like this word, but I'm going to say it. You're part of an elite. You have shown that you can do the work. Part of going through the module of being a reviewer at Deep Funding Academy is creating a review. It's being able to tell if a proposal is eligible or if it's not eligible. And you're going to have to provide evidence to that. Like I was saying, in each lesson, in each module, you'll find a task. And at the end of the module, you'll find a part where you can show your work. And what you'll do, and the instructions are very simple. You can just provide a link to a Google document that can show a screenshot, some text, the completion of the assignment, the completion of the tasks that each lesson includes. And if you think about it, it's just a link. That link can go broke and it can get broken at any time. It can be obsolete, whatever Google goes down, who cares? At the end of the day, what you will have is someone that has a token that says that they've done something, and another part that is a reviewer, that the course facilitator, I'm sorry, that has said that that work was done. And so at the end of the day, what this does is it lifts up human interaction. We're not creating systems to automate and abstract and get rid of people. We are creating that network of trust relationships of people that do the work and other people that approve or deny that the work has been done according to some criteria. To me, that is building community. That is creating relationships where people can see some token, can see some evidence of things done, can see that someone approve of that, and can say, yeah, okay, I can trust that this works. And you'll be, as the network grows, as participation grows in initiatives like Deep Funding and others, because at the end of the day, Andamio is a network. And the idea, the reason why we use SLTs is so that we have a communication layer, so that all of these SLTs can communicate between Andamio instances, between courses, and you'll be able to move those credentials around through this ecosystem that is Cardano, or this ecosystem that is Singularity. And those credentials are going to be your pass that tells the bouncer, tells the instructor, tells the organization, the hirer, the whatever, this is what I can do. And this is who has said that I can do what this says. And you can go to Andamio, you can go to any explorer, and you can see what I know to do, what was asked of me to do, when it was asked, all of that really, really fancy stuff that the blockchain does. At the end of the day, what it will create is this chain of evidence. will foster trust in people that cannot meet face to face. We cannot, it's impossible. We're all over the world. It would be impossible for us to meet. And I can gauge, is this guy really sneaky, or is he is he bluffing? Is he telling me lies? We can't do that. We need to find different ways to create community while being in different places. And we believe in Andamio, and the Deep Funding Academy also believes in this, and this is why we're building on Andamio and Deep Funding as well, that we can create these tools, we can use tools like blockchain, we can use this technology to amplify what we already do as humans among ourselves in our localities. We can do it globally because we have these tools. We have invented, I haven't done it, but we have these available, right? And just by doing these things, by doing these sort of symbolic, transactional tasks, we can create this evidence that will allow us to create a history of what we provide as value to any given community, any ecosystem. At the end of the day, what we hope is that these credentials will allow you to contribute to solve real-world problems, to solve impactful problems. And that means collaborating with organizations, which is a big problem that we have in all ecosystems. A few days ago, like a week ago, someone posted, I think it was Pete, one of the Cardano ambassadors, I wonder what this profile is. And there was some company asking to hire like a Cardano developer, but I don't think we realize how niche that profile is. I've been talking to successful, let's say, people that have gone over the mountain, that have either a job as a Cardano developer or develop products as Cardano. It is ridiculous. It is insane what they need to know, what they need to do, what they need to understand just to be able to create a smart contract, a safe and useful smart contract. And so obviously organizations are having trouble onboarding contributors to their organizations and solving these problems. And we need to sort of facilitate that. And this, hopefully, not through the Deep Funding Academy, we're talking about another thing, is just a tool to help do those things, to put the recruitment and hiring process, I like to think of it that way, just upside down, and provide those onboarding process at the beginning, and make sure that the people that engage with that material and learn those skills, those are the people that are interested in solving the problems that we are also interested in solving, and they have the credentials to prove it. And it's going to be on chain. It's forever. It's not a paper. You're never going to lose it. It's not going to get stained. You don't have to put it in a little frame on the back of your wall so everyone knows what you do. You're so fancy. It doesn't matter. It's going to be on your token, and you can take that with you anywhere you go. That is, in a really long-winded way, because I've been talking nonstop for like 25 minutes, what the Deep Funding Academy aims to do. And it's, at the end of the day, super simple. You are familiar with Plutus PBL. You know what this is about, right? You go to each of the modules. Each module has a number of lessons. Each lesson has a task at the end with instructions. And we're going to add assessment criteria as well, so you know what's expected of you. And at the end of the module, you have a little show your work, and you'll submit evidence, and we'll have course facilitators on the other side that are going to evaluate that evidence against the assessment criteria. If you pass, those student learning targets will go immediately to your token, and you'll be able to demonstrate to the community that you can or can't do. And someone's telling me, would you send a link to the chat, please? Oh, yeah. Sorry. One, give me a second.
Oh, I got it.
I never pressed enter. That's the problem. There you go. So yeah, that's in a nutshell what the Deep Funding Academy aims to be. And if you've ever been a Catalyst proposer, reviewer, voter, you'll understand what this means, because it's just getting familiarized with the rules, getting familiarized with the guidelines, what each pool is about, and be able to review a proposal, basically. What that means. What does that mean for the deep funding ecosystem? What does that mean for Singularity? Wow, how is the use of AI? Is that allowed? Is that not allowed? What a review requires, what you should take into account when reviewer. And the same with a proposal.